What up, Yogi Clan? Welcome back to Yogi Cycle Service. I am back in the garage out of my truck and I'm bringing you some more content tonight. So I thank you for joining us. Tonight I got something different I want to talk about. It's raining outside, so it's a little tough to ride. So I wanted to talk to you about something that I've alluded to before, and that is the number of kids we have and how we got there. And I think I may have said a little bit about it before, but basically out of our 15, 11 of those kids are adopted. And I wanted to talk to you about adoption for a little bit. One of the tattoos I have on my arm, not that arm, this arm, James 1:27. Sorry. James 1:27, pure and undefiled religion before the God and the Father is this: to visit the orphans and the widow in their trouble. Some versions say distress. That has been one thing that our family has really taken to heart. And adoption for us is something that is kind of, our mission. What our family chooses, not just adoption, but being an advocate or really, bringing the plight of the orphan to the world, Some of that is through hosting. My wife right now is at a hosting, I don't want to call it a convention, it's more of a meeting to prepare for summer, for the summer hosting period, where anywhere from probably 50 to 75 kids are going to be coming over from either Latvia or Ukraine to be hosted for a 5-week period here in America. So that's one way that that we're giving back and sowing back into that community. But I really just wanted to talk to you tonight about adoption. What does adoption look like? Today was another one of those challenging days for our family. Because, and why do I say that? And I don't even know honestly where to start. Adoption, in my opinion, is a beautiful thing. And the reason why we do adoption, to be honest, is to give kids a chance for success at life. A chance, they don't have a mother, they don't have a father. Give them the stability of a family, give them the love of a family, but most importantly, give them a platform that they can stand on and spread their wings and start their life. That's why we do it. But through that, we've adopted a lot of teenagers. And what we have come to learn is, they had a lot of life before they came to our family. And some of these teens, up here have had a lot of challenges and a lot of struggles. And a lot of life happened to them at a very young age. And I don't want to say that they're broken, because they're not broken. That's not a good term. But some of them have some emotional luggage and some emotional baggage, and that creates some very challenging days for a family, on how to deal with those interactions and how to react to those situations. How much patience do you have? Because some of these kids have really seen some really tough things, and really experienced some really tough things in their life that I wouldn't wish on anyone, and to go through that in an age is very rough. But the bottom line is this, and I've often heard my wife say many times that these kids are my heroes. Think about it. At age 12, 13, 14, 15, whatever age they were when they came to our family, they had a decision. They could have chosen not to come. They had the right. The countries that we adopted them from give them the right to say no. But the things that they had to look at is, I'm going to go to a country that speaks a completely different language than I do. I'm going to live with this family that I don't really know. I'm going to have rules, because living in an orphanage, yeah, you got rules, but you don't got rules like a family has rules. In a family, it's totally different. And for some kids, it's really hard to adjust to the lifestyle of being a family. Since my wife has started this adoption journey back in, I think, 2011, we have learned a whole lot. And we've also seen a lot of other families adopt. We've seen adoptions that have gone well, and we've seen adoptions that have not gone well. We have seen kids that have succeeded and kids that have just self-sabotaged and fallen on their face. And let me tell you, there's nothing harder than to see a kid self-sabotage. I don't know why they do it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. The human brain is a very complicated thing. And for some of these kids, it's really hard to open their hearts to not only give love, but to feel loved. Some of these kids have gone through so much loss. Their parents gave them up. They went to a foster family, and the foster family gave them up. They were put in an orphanage. They were abused in the orphanage by other kids or by teachers or by whatever. And it has created a lot of emotional scarring and a lot of emotional trauma, and that comes to your house when you adopt. Now, I don't want to say adoption. I don't want to paint a bad picture. And I truly hope that one day I hear from my kids, thank you. Thank you for everything you've done to help me. Thank you for everything you've done to give me a fresh start and a chance. That's the only thing I hope to hear from my kids someday is thank you, Dad. Thank you, Mom. I love you. Because there are so many days where I just don't know why they make the choices they do, why they make the decisions they do. It doesn't make sense. And some of the struggles that some of these kids have, my heart goes out to them, and I feel for them. And to see so many just beautiful children throw it away because of the trauma that's happened to them in the past is heartbreaking. And being an adoptive parent, there are certainly many more good days than bad days. But there, just as, anything, any relationship you have in life, there are low points and there are high points, right? I don't care if it's a marriage or a relationship with your brother, or a relationship with your sister, or a relationship with your mom. Any relationship that we have in this world, coworkers, friends, there are peaks and there are valleys. And it's the same thing with adoptive kids. And I've often been asked, can you love an adoptive child as much as you love a biological child? And I'm here to tell you, absolutely you can. One of our daughters that we adopted has epilepsy. And I remember one day, my wife got a call from the school. She had a massive seizure, and she was non-responsive, and they called the paramedics, was not responding to any kind of stimulation, out cold on the floor. She was still breathing, but was just completely non-responsive. My wife got the call. She immediately called me, was on the way to the school to go meet the EMT at the school. Now we're both in panic mode of, oh my gosh. And it was 15 minutes until I got a follow-up call from my wife saying that she was okay, she's responsive, she's in the ambulance. That 15-minute period in my car, leaving work early, driving towards the school, the direction of the school, the amount of fear, the amount of the things that went through my head, the emotions, the fear, everything, I don't think would have been any more intense for a biological kid versus an adoptive kid. I really thought, I was afraid we were going to lose her that day. And the thought of losing her was, I was in tears the whole time. I was crying the whole time. And, I am for sure in my heart, I would not have any greater or lesser of emotion for a biological kid than I did for the fear of her that day, an adoptive child. So can you love an adoptive child as much as a biological child? Absolutely you can. Absolutely. I do not look at my kids at all and go, oh, well, he's from Ukraine. He's not, he's not worthy of this, or he's not worthy of that. I don't look at any of my kids and go, well, gee, you were adopted, you weren't. They're just my kids. Just like I don't differentiate between adopted and non-adopted. I don't even think about that. I don't think, hey, you're Ukrainian, or hey, you're Chinese, or hey, you're this or you're that, And my two boys with Down syndrome, I don't look at them as like, oh, you have Down syndrome. They're just them. Same thing. And the love that you wind up having, it doesn't happen overnight. Certainly it takes time to develop that love, but that love is just as strong no matter what their challenges, what their problems are, what baggage they come with. The love there is just as strong. And there's one saying that we have is, I will always love you, but I may not like you. And today was that situation. I love you, but right now I really don't like you. Hey, maybe some of us have thought that about our significant other at times, or whatever, I love you, but today I just don't really like it. Today I just want to choke you out. And that may be a little strong, but I'm sure my mom has probably thought about me sometimes in that way. And adoption is a beautiful thing. So don't take this video as a negative. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying today was a very hard day. And that's part of my life. And something I just wanted to share because, our orphan run's coming up. If you've been watching my videos or watching my Instagram page or my Facebook page, you've seen me promoting that coming up. And I'm probably going to have a follow-up video on that because I got some really cool stuff I want to tell you about. That's hopefully coming, but I'm waiting another couple days to tie up some details. And then I'll probably do a follow-up video on what to expect if you're able to make it out to the orphan run. We got some really awesome stuff. I'm really excited. But that said, there are hard days, and today was one of those hard days. I'm not going to go into the details of what it was about, but, some of these kids are selfish. They come here, they get a little bit more freedom. A lot of these kids who come from the orphanages don't have much freedom. You're told what to do and how you're going to do it, and you better follow those commands. When you get into family, there's a little bit of freedom and flexibility, and some of these kids don't know how to make the right choices and the right decisions. Or they think, I was on my own in the orphanage, I called the shots, I'm going to do what I want to do. Well, sorry, living in my house until you're 18, my house, my roof, my rules. I'm the parent. I feed you, I clothe you, I drive you to where you need to go. While you live in my house, it's my house, my rules. You're welcome to stay here as long as you follow that principle once you turn 18. If you're over the age of 18 and you decide you're not going to follow those rules, sorry, dude, gotta go. And, lying. You don't expect me to lie to you. Why are you going to lie to me? You want me to respect you, then you need to respect me. And some of those challenges are really tough for some of these kids, or some of those principles are really tough for some of these kids to grasp. Heck, it's tough for some of my biological kids to grasp. But they've been with me long enough. They know the rules, and they know when they've toeing the line and when they're crossing the line. These adoptive kids, they know when they're toeing the line too, but sometimes they really just don't care. And, unfortunate as it is, out of the 11 we have adopted, not all have been good stories. Some of them have not turned out as I would have hoped, the stories. But I know in their hearts they are beautiful people. Beautiful people. They're just making some poor choices, And I can do everything I can to try to guide them, to keep them on the road, to keep them on the path. But sometimes they're just going to choose, they're going to do what they want to do. And I guess some of them are just going to learn the hard way. I think, probably as my mom will attest, some things I had to learn the hard way. And in talking to my mom, I definitely was the black sheep in my family also. And that's fine. I survived. I made it. And, I have decided to, toe a different line nowadays, which I'm sure makes my mom happy. And every now and then we have conversations about that. And I can only help that with wisdom and maturity. Some of these kids that we have challenges with today will go down that same path also. But just know, if you are a family or a person who is considering adoption, it's going to be tough. There are going to be some really tough days that come with it. And there are going to be some really hard challenges that you're going to have to deal with. But is it worth it? Absolutely. Absolutely it is. And I have some of these kids, I've tried everything under the sun. I've tried talking with them, begging them, pleading them, yelling at them, corporal punishment, the whole 9 yards. I've tried it all. And, each kid is different. Each kid responds differently to direction and instruction. There's no cookie cutter, so I can't come on here and tell you, oh, you're having a wayward child, well, you do this, this, and that. It doesn't work that way. Each kid is unique in their own way, and each kid interprets the world around them in their own way. And being a parent is really tough. I really wish there was a manual to tell you how to do this, because it ain't easy. And, for having as many kids as we do, maybe I got some more tips and more tricks than other people do, but, I learn every day. And what advice would I give to an adoptive family? Just eyes wide open, be wide open, and know that it's not going to be easy. There are going to be some very hard days, and some kids will give you much more challenges than others. But, to help out another person, I think you do the best you can. You know, you give them the best of you can give. And sometimes it's good enough, and sometimes it's not. It's just, it is what it is. You know, but that's all we can ask for, and all the man upstairs can ask for, is you just give 100% and do the best that you can. You make the best decisions at the time you can with the most information you can get, and just do the best job you can. And then at that point in time, you just gotta live with it. You gotta be able to put your head on the pillow at night and go, I tried, Lord. I did the best I can, Lord, and help me, Father. Help me make these decisions. Help me make these choices. Help me guide these kids. Help me show them right and show them wrong, and make them want to do the right thing. You know, that's the key, is to make these kids want to do the right thing. You know, when you don't parent, you just let them do whatever they want to do, then expect those kind of results. But know and be able to sleep comfortably at night that I've given it all I could. And ultimately, it's not my decision if these kids are going to succeed and fail. That's up to them. And you got to let that go. You know, at some point in time, you got to let it go and let these kids either walk tall and proud or fall flat on their face. And when they fall flat on their face, you can't become an enabler. You can't keep picking them up and dusting them off. Yes, you want to look down to them to offer them a hand to pick them up, but you can't pick them up for themselves. At some point in time, they got to walk on their own 2 feet. We have a 21-year-old, and he just started driving not too long ago. And he bought himself a shiny yellow Mustang. It's used. He bought himself a shiny yellow Mustang. Well, about 2 months ago, he came home with a ticket doing 16 miles an hour over. I said, well, son, welcome to being a man. You want to be a man? You're 21 now. It's time to do man things, which means you need to fix that situation. I will give you direction. I will be there to support you and back you up, but you need to go walk the road now. I'll be right behind you if you need me and support you, but it's time to man up. If you're going to be out there doing man things in this world, it's time to own them. You know, so at some point in time, you really need to let these kids stand on their own 2 feet. Now, I understand with adoption, some of them are behind the curve than others. You know, they haven't had the upbringing, the family life, the education that they needed to be compared to their peers at the same age. So they are behind the curve. That's the other thing I've noticed with adoptive kids. Very, you know, especially from an orphanage, when you say adopt a kid who's 15, expect him more socially to be like a 12-year-old or an 11-year-old. They will be behind. So it will take a little bit more time for them to catch up and get up to speed, but they'll get there. They'll get there eventually. But yeah, with him, all right, homeboy, 16 over, and it was a speed trap town. It was 55, it drops to a 35. It was 1 o'clock at night. He wasn't really paying attention. They were coming home from Winterfest, and oops. So it wasn't like he was deliberately doing it. So, I mean, I didn't beat on the kid, you know? Oops. You didn't know that town was a speed trap? Well, now you do. You know, some mistakes happen, and you gotta let those happen. You know, the learning curve happens, and you gotta let it happen, but it's not easy. You know, that stuff happens. And I probably have story after story. I could probably go on forever. But I should probably end this video because I'm probably rambling now. But know that adoption is and will remain our family ministry. James 1:27 is very near and dear to our hearts. And I know I can't adopt the world. My wife knows we can't adopt the world. But we can help other people with adoptions. We can help other people with advice on parenting, on challenges, on kids, because with 11 adoptions, we've seen a lot of different stuff, but by far, our family is not perfect. But there's a lot of love and a lot of patience. And patience is highly required. Remember, I will always love them, but I may not like them. Today is one of those days. One of the kids, I love her dearly, but she made some very selfish decisions, and I don't really like her at this moment. So she is currently sitting upstairs. And we did have some talks, and you know, I didn't yell, but I just told her I was extremely disappointed in her choices, and she doesn't really understand why, because she's coming at it from a very selfish angle. is what it is, kiddo. And we had another one who's moved out who's very much like her. And I think, really the Lord put this one in our life because we had the other one who taught us a whole lot and kind of prepared us for that one. So I definitely think she's here for a reason. I don't think it was just chance. I think definitely the Lord put her in our life because he used the one before her to prepare us for her. And, an amazing moment. I'll conclude with this story. When this one that's upstairs now first came here, she was doing everything she could to buck, to push our buttons, to figure out where our breaking point was. She did everything she could to figure out that breaking point. At that point in time, the other one was still here living with us. And this one, she comes from Ukraine. So she was speaking Russian, didn't speak English at the time. So we had her older brother, an earlier adoption that we had done from Ukraine. He was doing the translating. And basically, it loosely translatable. And she was telling the other girl who's now moved out, well, you don't understand because you were born here in America and you have no idea what I'm going through. And the older one, I couldn't have said it better myself. I'm only going to paraphrase it because I can't say it as well as she did. She goes, you're wrong. I may have grown up here in North Carolina with my original mom, but this family is just as alien to me as it is to you, because what I grew up with is not what is in this house. So if you think you're special in any way, tell you you're just like me, because this, as alien as his family is to you, is as it was to me, and I wouldn't accept it either, and I push back just as hard, just like you did. So don't think you're any different or any more special than me, because I pushed just like you. It was alien to me, and it still is to this day, and why I still struggle. I was just like, oh, where did that come from? It was just like, I right there did not say it anywhere near as well as she did. It was a beautiful, beautiful moment. And it's times like that just brought tears to my eyes, because I was like, wow, despite all the problems I've had with you for the past 4 years, you really do get it. You get it. Although she didn't live it, and she didn't really show it, she knew it. She knows it. She gets it. She just chooses not to listen to it. Okay. So she's on her own now, living with her boyfriend. And I wish her the best. And I hope going forward that we can maintain a relationship. But again, I just don't support some of the choices she's making. Not every adoption works out the way you hope. But again, you do the best you can. I'll leave you with that. Thank you for joining Yogi's Cycle Service. Thank you for listening to my rant. I've want to bring you wrenching videos. I love wrenching on my scoots. Love talking to you about different ideas. This adoption is a big part of my life also. And periodically, when things hit me, when things move me, I'm going to talk about it. So I thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy the ride. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great night. Take care.